When MINHEEJIN left her home at 13 years old to start her training life, her parents were not allowed to visit her because she allegedly lived with roaches. And it's not because she didn't want her parents to see her, it's because she was worried that if her parents saw the condition that she was expected to live in by allegedly Source Music, her parents would prohibit her from being a trainee. And then she was pressured to stop going to school and abandon her education without having any debut date or debut plans in sight. And her company then abandoned her in favor of allegedly debuting Le Seraphim. And when it felt like her life was falling apart, there she was, the light at the end of the tunnel, MINHEEJIN. Welcome back to my channel. This is just my opinion. Argue with yourself in the comment section. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a glazer. I don't like MINHEEJIN. If you've watched any of my videos, you would know that. But like I said before, my first opinion in this situation is always to put your biases against MINHEEJIN aside to be able to fully see what is going on here. Because in my opinion, she is equally as guilty and is a bystander to what allegedly happened to NewJeans members, more than just the alleged contract violation with HYBE. But as much as you guys want to hit her, she was the one who saved NewJeans, and she is responsible for the creation of NewJeans and their success. And even though allegedly she was affiliated with HYBE and Source Music while the NewJeans members were being allegedly abused and living in inhumane conditions, at the end of the day, she is the one that was able to create NewJeans. It is easy to see why NewJeans is leaving one evil for another lesser evil, especially when the alternative is a mega evil corporation like HYBE Entertainment that has a history of blindsiding the NewJeans members since they were trainees, even after they became the most successful group under the company after BTS. Number 1, broken promises. MINHEEJIN was supposed to be in the first lineup of Source Music's first girl group, and she almost made it, but then allegedly they added a bunch of famous people to be in the group, which would allegedly be Sakura and Chaewon, so her future became unknown. And if on her contract she was meant to be in the very first girl group that Source Music produced, then her contract is no longer valid. Regardless of how magnitude you think it is one of the potential signs that HYBE and Source Music allegedly violated their contract with the member, MINHEEJIN specifically. And not even to start with that, she did not end up debuting under Source Music. I remember when people were talking about how MINHEEJIN stole the NewJeans members, Source Music just debuted Le Seraphim 2-3 years ago. Most K-pop companies take 5 to 7 years before debuting another girl group. Even with SM Entertainment that has 1 million groups under them, they are taking at least 5 years to debut SM new girl group, and their previous girl group aespa debuted in 2020, I'm pretty sure. I imagine YG Entertainment that debuts girl groups every 7 to 10 years. What else would Source Music have done with the members except to send them on survival shows where the future is still not guaranteed? So in my opinion, I don't believe that MINHEEJIN stole the members. I feel like she saw potential in them, and which is pretty much what she said. She wanted to help MINHEEJIN because she believed in her so much, and then decided to create a whole other label to prioritize the girls instead of allowing them to wallow away in whatever, non-existent plans Source Music had for them. Another thing that proved my point was when you saw the leaked videos of the dance practice. I think that was leaked. The songs that they were training with were not songs that were similar to NewJeans, which means, allegedly in my opinion, that a lot of the things that we know about NewJeans today is because of purely MINHEEJIN. So even if Source Music kept the girls, what were they going to do with them? Also, where were they going to debut? They're not going to debut on the HYBE, they're not going to debut under Big Hit, they're not going to debut under any other HYBE label except for ADOR. That was literally why ADOR was created, because there were nowhere else for the girls to go. Boys Next Door was debuting under, I think, Ziako's label. TWS was debuting under Playlist. They did not have any other opportunity to debut a girl group in other label unless a new one was literally created. So I'm very confused on why people are acting like all of these things didn't happen. And in my opinion, debuting another person when you sign a contract with me being your first girl group is a contract violation, especially since, like, if I'm no longer going to be in your first girl group, stop making empty promises. Let me go. Let me go find another company to debut in. Especially with, for example, Haein, she said the same thing. She said that when she was looking for companies to audition for, she chose Source Music specifically because they said that they were ready to debut another girl group in 2 or 3 years, and that's why she chose Source Music specifically, because all the other companies that she wanted to audition for were not debuting girl groups anytime soon. Do you guys remember like that one meme last year where everyone was like, well, My Faves was accepted into 10 million companies and they chose to debut under this company? That's not necessarily the reason why. Unless you're like 10 years old, you have to be strategic about the company you audition for if you want to debut anytime soon, or if you want to increase your chances of debuting. Like I said earlier in the video, if you are auditioning for a company and you're at 17 years old and you're a female, which is like when you become a hag in Kpop universe, yes, in Kpop universe, which is when you become a hag in Kpop universe, you have to at least audition for a company that's ready to debut a girl group tomorrow. Because if you audition for YG Entertainment, for example, and you're already 17 years old and the last group they debuted was Baby Monster, YG is not going to debut another girl group until 2030. You're not going to see any other girl group coming out of YG for at least 4 to 5 years to come. You have to be strategic about the way you audition for companies, because that's going to affect your chances of debuting, which is pretty much what HYBE did allegedly. And when you're promising them that they're going to be in your very first girl group and they're no longer going to be in your very first girl group, then you should let them go. You should release them from the contract. But that's not what happened. They literally just stayed there without being sure of what was going to happen. After already being kicked out of the lineup, especially with Minji, there was no other plan for them. Even the girls said something like how the company did not even maintain communication with them. After they signed the contract with being a trainee, they no longer had any form of open communication with the girls, which if you look at why they want to follow MINHEEJIN, as much as you guys hate her, she is open with communicating with the girls. Even though she was out here talking smack about them, she still had open communication with the girls, so they had an idea what was going on, so they at least had an input in what their artistic direction is going to be. If you watch my last video, that's one of the reasons why I mean, of course, I don't know everything for sure. It has not gone down yet, because yes, this is allegedly, in my opinion, going to become legal. But like I said before, one of the reasons I believe that the girls are choosing MINHEEJIN is because of the artistic freedom that they have, and the fact that they have an input in their image, they have an input in the music they release, they have an input in a lot of things that would not typically be available under the normal K-pop system. And that's the difference MINHEEJIN has made for them that they don't want to lose. It's literally the same thing with Danielle. Even though I think it's a big ask for a contract to insist that you are going to be part of the very first girl group, because there's a bunch of other trainees out there, you cannot really guarantee that. At the end of the day, that's what the contract says. So if there's nothing else on that contract stipulating that the girls are, of course, I know it's a contract, there's gonna be a million other things, but if they did not remove that from the contract when the girls debut on the NewJeans, then the contract is still, valid. The contract is still maintained, because the company ADOR is always going around talking about how the contract is valid. Then yes, the contract is valid, and these girls, they have lawyers. Like I said before, I believe in MINHEEJIN because she has been part of this industry since Shiny. That's most of you guys' age. She's been in this industry for 20 years. She knows what the hell she's talking about, and plus they have a lawyer. It's not MINHEEJIN and friends. These are very professional people who know what they're doing, who are betting a lot of money on NewJeans, who are betting a lot of money on the fact that they're going to win this contract dispute. I feel like literally no one is considering that, which is so weird in my opinion. But at the end of the day, a contract is still a contract, and if they did not debut the girls in the very first girl group on the Source Music, the girls debut under ADOR, not Source Music, then the contract isn't valid. Another evidence that I have about the girls actually being part of the very first lineup, that they actually had plans for the girls being in the very first lineup, is that documentary that they released after King Garon was kicked out of the group because of her bullying allegations. And none of the NewJeans members were in the documentary. Do you guys remember that? But even though the NewJeans members trained with the other people in La Seraphim, like, I don't know any of their names except for Sakura and Jiwon, but if you guys remember that they trained with them, so why isn't there a video of them training together? That's obviously because ADOR was already planning on debuting NewJeans, which means that what ADOR allegedly is saying does not make any sense. How the hell can MINHEEJIN be trying to debut the members, but then you also want them to be contractually obligated to the company, and then they're not even going to be part of the first girl group? Like, what is going on? They cannot be under two companies at the same time. That doesn't make any sense. So I don't get why everyone's acting like that's not a big violation, in my opinion, especially when like K-pop is so timed. Like I'm telling you, being 17 is a hack in K-pop age, so like everything is very, very strategically timed. So I don't get why people are acting like that's not a serious violation, especially for an artist whose age matters, unfortunately. And then there was another girl in the documentary who had left the lineup as well, pretty much allegedly set up to debut in the survival show Next, which produced Islet. Why would they keep only the girl in the documentary instead of keeping all the members in the documentary if they wanted them to have more exposure? It's because the girls were already affiliated with another company. That's why they couldn't show them for no reason, because the girls pretty much debuted like 2 months after Le Seraphim, I think. Why is no one paying attention to that? That makes no sense. If the contract was still, if the contract was still valid, why did they let the girls move like that? And, going back to my other video where allegedly, one of my other videos, I think was like the very first video I made about this situation, where allegedly MINHEEJIN was seducing a man, trying to get him to give the contract to NewJeans to ADOR. If that happened, then doesn't that mean that MINHEEJIN's alleged appeal is enough to get the contract over to ADOR? Like, what the hell? I'm very confused. Now, the last thing I ask of you is to imagine being asked to leave your education and then being lied to that you were going to debut in the very first girl group just for them to kick you out of the lineup and put 2 idols from an already successful group to replace you, and then you have no idea what's going to happen to you and no one is telling you anything. The CEO of Source Music allegedly telling them anything about their future, because at this point there was already a huge possibility that they were not going to debut another girl group anytime soon, but no one was ready to have that conversation with you and your hopes were all up in the air. And then MINHEEJIN comes in and tells you that they are ready to debut you under another company. What exactly are you supposed to do? Even though I don't like the woman personally, imagine being her in every single possible way and taking you out of your dark, I bet very dark situation. I mean, just look at what other girls have said about their relationship with allegedly HYBE and Source Music allegedly, and them not getting sleep and working long hours as teenagers, as pre-teens. That's insane. It is no shock that these girls are willing to ride or die for MINHEEJIN this hard, because literally put yourself in their situation and her situation. HYBE, in my opinion, has 0 rights to NewJeans from where I stand.